Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 3, entitled Karma Yoga, verse number is 40. Arjuna had asked the question, what compels people to perform actions that are negative? And Krishna had responded, cause of moving away from your duty and getting involved with a series of actions that will create bondage, will create impurities in the mind. That movement is caused by kama, desire. Kama is the enemy that you must fight against and conquer. And the extension of that, the three gates to hell, kama, krodha, and lobha. Kama, desire. The desire comes into different levels, different types. All through this discussion, you must understand that sattvic, anything that is sattvic or pure, that is not being contradicted. If you have developed sat kama, that means desire to attain liberation, go ahead. That kama is not the topic we are against. If you make a resolve, may I attain liberation, called sat sankalpa, sat kama, sat sangha. You have desire for good association, desire for developing divine qualities, desire for becoming desireless. That desire is commendable. But when desire is focused on rajas and tamas, that becomes a movement in illusion, a process of degradation. Avidya, kama, and karma, these are the three knots of the heart that makes you naughty. Karma, soul views the body as me, identity. Body is not you. But this identity with the physical body, because you are gripped by karmas, in this state of your identity, you are led by fruits of karma. Karma can give you pleasure, pain, adversity, prosperity, meeting, parting, all types of things, all experiences in this world. The basic point, jati, ayu, and bhoga. Jati, class, where you are born is led by your karma. What type of family, what type of class? Ayu, how long you are going to live. And bhoga, what will be your pleasure and pain in your life. All this, you are born with a plot. Plot comes in 1 or 2 sheets. Figuratively speaking, how you are going to build your life on that plot, that there lies now your purpose in every existence. You come into the world with already a backing of karma. You never come into the world with an empty slate. You always come with something from behind, before. You're being involved with or concerned with What was the karma of my past? That would be unnecessary. And that has no purpose. Every time you are suffering from some painful situation, and someone were to tell you, oh, because in your past life you treated your neighbor in this way, so you are suffering. And this suffering will continue. All that I'm trying to dramatize, people become involved with that. They go into spiritualists and many other ways, astrologers, to know what type of karma is after them. And they get into a kind of illusion. Astrologer says, for 7 years you will be in this city. We're stuck. Only after 7 years we have to go back to him again. That should not. That's completely backed up by ignorance. Therefore, satsanga opens your mind to the understanding you are the architect of your destiny. Don't go after all those details. And Godward movement is the answer. Without going into further detail, let me come back to the topic. What degrades you? What takes you away from your goal? Your goal is self-realization. Goal is to realize, who am I? The answer to that question, I am that, Brahman, the answer. Viewing yourself different from your body, from your senses, from your mind, from your intellect, from your ego. That is the right movement. And that's highly rational, understandable. But your mind has to work upon it, that you are not the body. You are not the senses. View your body as something objective. When you are hungry, your attention moves away from your looks. How do you look? Doesn't matter. What does the tongue say? That matters. And when your mind becomes too involved, then even hunger doesn't matter. And when intellect becomes involved, even whatever the mind says doesn't matter. And when your ego itself slips away from you, nothing matters. Padartha bhavana, all that matters explodes into void. And day by day, that miracle happens. When you are in deep sleep, your ego slips away from you. At that time, you are not aware of the state of your ego, not aware of your intellect. Is it dull bit? Is it moving in a good direction or not? You are not concerned with your mind, your senses, your body, your house, your relatives, your friends, the news, the world of past, present, and future. All that world moves away. Are you at a loss? Not at all. Wake up with a beaming face. Except soundly. And you nothing. Listen to that voice. That's the pig. Go to the root of it. The senses, the mind, and the intellect are said to be the dwelling places of desire. Through these, it deludes the ignorant who are identified with their body. So, first point to understand, the mind should not go after the building up desires. You should not go after a desire world. That movement of the mind called sakamya, the process called pravritti, the path is called preya. That movement is pleasant. Everyone thinks of his success, his progress, in the terms of physical attainments based on your body, your property, your wealth, your relatives, your fame, your name, and your enjoyments. All that becomes the focus of your mind. For majority of people, that's the world. You come into the world, and what a wonderful thing it is. And what's your purpose? How to live a wonderful life of lots of enjoyment. And go on writing down in your diary how many places you have seen. And if you can do it, 90 good places, 100 good places. I'm just dramatizing. All your enjoyments that you are looking for. But all this attainment that the mind is after, all this attainment is transient. Your mind will not be fulfilled. No matter how much you attain, you cannot have a mind that has become desireless. Desires go on increasing. Kama, the desire, haunts you just like a big enemy. You live through your whole life under that pressure of kama. And you are led from one life to another. This process is called hell. Gita's definition of hell is totally different. Even if you are enjoying your life, but you are not moving in the right direction, it is hell. Kama, Krodha, and Lobha, these are the three gates to hell. They have to be conquered. As you begin to conquer them, gates to heaven begin to open up. Yoga Vasishtha points out 4 gates to heaven. Heaven means liberation. In the Vedic tradition, the spirituality that we are teaching, heaven and hell. Heaven is not at all desirable. Heaven and hell that people talk about, they are relative terms. The heaven is nothing but liberation. Christ referred to kingdom of heaven, that means liberation. Liberation implying you will not come back into the world. You are nirvana, liberated. You become one with the Absolute. That's the heaven. Anything away from that goal is hell. Keeping that in view, how to be Godward, heavenward, moving towards liberation. 4 gates, I'm just simply mentioning to you. All details we have been given before. First is called serenity. As desires begin to move away, your mind enjoys calmness. Always there is a question, have I attained what I wanted to attain? Answer, no. What should I do? And the mind is working under this illusion. The sweetness of serenity moves away. But remember, when you are in deep sleep, All things moved away, and you are quite wonderful. Now try to attain the same without going into deep sleep. Be conscious. Watch your thoughts. And try to view your thoughts just like the sky views the clouds. Develop a sense that these are my thoughts. From practical point of view, I will try to handle them. But deeper point of view, I am not dependent upon them. If they are fulfilled in a particular way, wonderful. But I am not changing. I am the sky. The sky doesn't change. And this is a play, fun. Fulfillment of desire never changes you in your deepest level. It simply changes your cell phones. Changes your body mindset. So shama, serenity must be enjoyed. That should become your goal. What will lead you to serenity? Satsanga, repetition of mantra japa, being in a sharing good things with others, positive things, being kind, compassionate. All these will help you to relax. When serenity comes, you have tremendous space for your mind. If serenity is not there, there is an inner feeling, I have no space. No space to relax. Mind is filled, crowded. A whole pack of memories from the past are coming from one direction. Expectations of future are coming with one big army. The earth underneath is shaking. The sky above is exploding. Where can I get peace? Learn the art of serenity. Simply said, not so simple. But that is what you need to get. That's the destiny of your soul, to discover its essential nature. And serenity can be experienced at any moment because it is not a result of a happening. It's a result of just calm. Be what you are. Move away from the senses. The senses are yours. You are not the senses. Move away from your mind. Mind is yours. You are not the mind. Move away from your intellect. Intellect is yours. Move away from your ego. Ego is your shoes. When you go to sacred place, you keep the shoes out. This process gives you the idea of serenity. That serenity may not be experienced in full measure. Whatever little you experience it, that's a sniff of the heaven. The fragrance of divine garden is coming to your nose. And it is uplifting, nourishing, strengthens your faith, brings inner strength, so many things. Shama, that's first gatekeeper. Santosh. Santosh means contentment. Mind is always in a state of discontent. Here people get confused. And a student will say, if I get too contented, I will not pass for examination. The idea contentment deprives you of your perseverance for becoming better. That's wrong. The more contented you are, more joyous you will be in doing things that will make you shine. So if you have the idea that contentment deprives you of your inner sense of perseverance, that's you have to correct it. Contentment simply means you have all the resources and your goal is smiling at you. All that you have to do is get up and gain it. Put it in different ways. Understand you are in the hands of God. And God is omniscient, omnipotent. You are drawing from God Himself. What's there which you will not get? You are tapping from a source that is infallible. And therefore, you are not holding the mind in a state of discontent. Also, you are not keeping the mind involved in comparing yourself with others. Discontent develops when you compare. When you compare in a wrong way because you have no idea. And simply because you look at a person very calm, relaxed, laughing, especially laughing at you. That's the idea. He is a prosperous person. How is it I am not as prosperous as this one? Discontent develops. But when you stop comparing and internalize and realize God has given you all that is needed, all the resources, using which you can attain the absolute, the highest. That movement is called contentment. Third point is satsanga. Good association, listening to these talks and reflecting upon them. Fourth point, vichar, allowing your intellect to work upon who am I in a proper atmosphere. So those four are the gates to heaven, liberation. Three are the gates to hell. Gates to liberation are more in number. That's all allegoric. Kama, desire. Wherever there is desire, there will be agitation. That agitation is called krodha. When there is desire and agitation, there comes lobha. Lobha means your happiness becomes quantitative. And then you have another trouble. What quantity will satisfy? This much happiness, that much happiness. And the more you develop the sense that you are happy, greater is your greed for that type of happiness. It is not true happiness, it is just happiness. When mind has become involved in kama, krodha and lobha, then you have no control over your senses. Think of, under this pressure of malas, what happens to your senses, to your mind, to your intellect, to your ego? Your senses will not obey your mind under the grip of malas, kama, krodha. You are driven by your senses. You wake up in the morning, you don't know how the day will be, but soon the senses begin to bark at you lovingly. And your mind doesn't have the thinking, reflecting, and the ability. Mind simply follows the wake of the senses. Mind, in turn, is not being controlled by rational intellect. Intellect is sick because ego is choking its neck. Kama, Krodha, and Lobha, they develop in your personality when abnormality enters in this setting, like senses, mind, intellect, and your unconscious. They are all defective. Your unconscious is carrying impressions that are confused, ego-based impressions, ashubha samskaras, negative impressions. This being so, your ego is not healthy. Ego is pursuing things that are not good. Ego is dominating your intellect. Intellect has the capacity to understand, but understanding itself becomes defective. Therefore, the biggest of prayer is, "O God, give me good intellect." Sabko sanamati de Bhagavan. O God, give good understanding to everyone. Because the defective intellect becomes something detrimental to your progress, profoundly detrimental. Tasmat tvamindriyanyadau niyamya bharatarshava apmanam prajahyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. Therefore, O best of Bharata, having first subdued the indriyas, always understand, controlling the sense. When you study the indriyas, you must realize senses are subtler than the organs of the senses. Eyes are the organs. The eye, the vision belongs to your subtle body. The eye sense is deep in your astral body. Your eyes are a channel through which your eye sense, drishti indriya, works. Similarly, the sense of hearing is in your astral body. Ears are the channel. All the senses are in the subtle body. Physical body provides for channels through which those senses operate. Next point, senses are led by the mind. So if you want to control the senses, you have to go to that level which is higher than the senses. And mind is controlled by your intellect. This point is brought out in the 42nd verse. Indriyani paranyahu indriyebhya param mana manasastu para buddhi yo buddhe paratastu saha. The sages say that the senses are higher than the objects. Try to understand the importance of sense perception. The world of matter, the world is described in terms of jada chetan. Chetan, all human beings, living beings are chetan. There is consciousness in them. All objects, mountains, rivers, oceans, even the stars, even the sun and moon, they are all inert. The definition of inert is it doesn't know itself. And it doesn't know anything other than itself. The stone has been sitting with 1,000 stones together. I will ask it, do you know yourself? How long have you been sitting with these? That. But consciousness comes to you, twofold experience starts. You have an idea of yourself. You don't know yourself fully, but you have an idea of yourself. And you begin to know others around you. Me and mine. All that begins to come within the range of your understanding. This is me, these things are mine. But now you need to understand that the entire world, such immense objects, and that entire world has absolutely no consciousness. As a human being with little eyes, you surpass the entire world. Because you begin to experience the. You can see a mountain, all rock. Doesn't know it. It doesn't have even awareness of a little ant. But a living creature, an ant, possessing an awareness, surpasses that mountain. Think of that. The role of senses. The senses enable you to experience the world. Therefore, how great are you? The entire world of matters rests on the ability to experience and their senses. But don't become satisfied. Senses themselves depend upon a mind. A mind is not connected with the senses. Then your all experience is not possible. Senses will not bring you perceptions of objects. Mind in turn is receiving support from intellect. Imagine, as I have described, imagine the glory of sense. Million times that glory is the mind. Millions times of that glory is the intellect. Million times of the glory of intellect is that intuitive light of God that operates through your intellect. That intuitive light coming from the self. That self you are. Why do you feel miserable? At every moment you are that self. Compared to the glory of that self, all that you experience through your mind, intellect, senses, all that is alpam, little, compared to the glory of the sun. A few rainbows are nothing. Same way, compared to the self within you, all these perceptions are little. Turning your mind to that direction. Who is the knower? Who is the seer? What's the light of lights? What makes my senses operate? Mind. What makes the mind operate? Intellect. What moves the intellect? Intuitive mind of God. Who is that God? I am that I am. So while the profound I am is your reality, how much have we moved away from that reality? Miserable I am, shaking at every little point. But this is not a pathetic situation. Through satsanga you are reminded that the purpose of religion, spirituality, That even though all this you experience, I am the body, and all the troubles arising out of the body, arising out of the mind, ego, all this seems real. Yet all this is like a dream. The entire dream seems real as long as you are dreaming. Wake up from it, nothing has been there. But waking from a dream is more allegorical. Waking from your relative state to attaining liberation is sadhana, integral yoga. It has to touch every part of your life. Your actions have to become karma yoga. Your emotions have to follow bhakti, devotion. Your meditative process must be focused on how to be an instrument in the hands of God. Deep down to discover I am that am I. All the four must blend in your daily life. That's called Sampurna Yoga, integral yoga. That's called real religion. It must touch every part of your life day by day. And day by day you need to discover inward sense of relaxation, sweetness of divine surrender. Eva buddhe param buddhva sanstabyatmanam atmana jahi shatrum mahabhaho kamarupam durasadam. Thus, O great armed Arjuna, spiritual aspirants, Arjuna is a typical, ideal spiritual aspirant. Arm is a symbol of self-effort. Even though you may have big arms and you don't do your self-effort, you will not be appreciated for your arms. But spiritual seeker has strong arms. That means you are practicing self-effort. And what does that imply? O great armed Arjuna, knowing that which is higher than the intellect, with your mind under your control, you should slay this enemy desire, which is so difficult to conquer. Knowing that which is higher than the intellect, as you have studied the series, higher than the senses, mind, higher than the mind, intellect, higher than the intellect, the divine spirit within you, the cosmic self. Knowing that you are not confined to the mind, senses, intellect, you are the transcendental. Therefore, what are you going to gain in the world that is transient? Suppose you are having a negative type of dream. You have become like a beggar, though you are very rich. In your dream, you are in a miserable condition. If you were to know that you are not that beggar, you are absolutely rich and prosperous. But that knowledge should not be a simple intellectual knowledge, a knowledge that wakes you up from that dream. Two types of knowledge is there. Knowledge that informs you, I am not the body, I am not the mind, that starts from your intellect. Intellectual knowledge still keeps you in a state of dream. However, if you work upon it, if you go on meditating, reflecting, integrating your personality, suddenly you begin to slip from the delusion of dream to the state of awakening. An allegorical process of description, as if you wake up. In that, the moment that develops, the desire for things of the world, for example, if you begin to realize you are dreaming and you have to wake up. But while dreaming, you had found an apple tree and you are counting all the apples. Once that idea has dawned that You belong to the waking world. Your desire for counting the apple trees or any desire with dream world will simply fade away. That's the difference between mind with desire. Mind with desire, what does it want? It wants time, space, world, a world where things are happening. But when you realize you are the absolute Brahman, that absolute alone is reality. Movement towards realizing who am I cuts down desire. It cuts down three things: karmas, kama, desire, and ignorance. Avidya, kama, and karma. Avidya is ignorance. That doesn't allow you to have a clear awareness, I am that. Because of it, mind is always driven by desire. Simply you don't know what really you desire. But all your desires are refractions of the threefold urge, Sat, Chit, Ananda. You want to exist, you want to know, you want to be happy. Led by desire, you find yourself trapped by physical body and physical perishable realities. But if you are adopting this spiritual process of allowing your intellect to become illumined by the divine behind it, and that illumined intellect to dominate the mind, and a mind to dominate the senses, the entire world experience changes. You see nothing but the self. Ahame Vedam Sarvam. I am all this. Putting in a devotional way, Siya Ram Main Sab Jag Jani. The entire world is nothing but Sita and Ram, God and His power. With that vision, Kama is destroyed. What need the sky has to desire for clouds? What need the ocean has to entertain desire for waves? What need the rope has to desire to appear as a snake? The desiring process based on ignorance, inability to know who am I, sets your mind to that process, desiring, trying to come closer to what you want to be. But what you want to be is not you. You are beyond your mental expectations, your intellectual concepts. You are I am. The process is of a different nature. It's a process of revelation. And with this I'm going to Om Shanti.